Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a big one, something that touches literally every part of our lives, the psychology of money. We're aiming to get past the usual tips, the budgeting cliches, and really understand what wealth actually does for us, and maybe more importantly, what pursuing it costs us psychologically.
Right. Our mission here really is to help you, our listener, maybe rethink your whole relationship with money. Most of us, let's be honest, frame it a bit incorrectly.
Oh, so.
Well, we often see it as this direct path to happiness. Earn more, be happier. But the goal should be using it to align with your personal goals. It's about organizing your life, your career, your finances, sure, but ultimately your fulfillment.
And we should probably say this right at the top, shouldn't we? The big takeaway.
Absolutely. When people relentlessly chase wealth, it's usually not about the dollars themselves.
It's about something else.
It's almost always a hunt for freedom, for independence. That's the real prize.
Money's the tool, not the end goal.
Precisely. It's about gaining that sovereignty, that ability to make choices based on what you value, not what debt or circumstance dictates.
Okay, let's dive into the immediate feeling, the day-to-day reality. We all know the saying, money can't buy happiness. Kind of a cliche, right?
It is, yeah.
But the sources we looked at really focus on its true power, which is maybe slightly different. Money is a massive buffer against stress.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't guarantee joy, no. But what it does, very effectively, is remove this huge layer of background noise, this anxiety.
Like the unexpected car repair.
Exactly. Or the sudden dental bill. Things that can totally derail someone living paycheck to paycheck become manageable inconveniences. That lack of constant financial worry, that's huge.
But there's a catch, isn't there?
There is. If the chase itself consumes you, if you're always stressed about the next deal, the next quarter's earnings, always needing more, well, then you haven't actually bought any freedom. You've just swapped one kind of stress for another.
You've lost the very autonomy you were supposedly chasing.
Right. Which leads us to this really fascinating idea, something that forces us to kind of pause before judging how others handle their money.
Okay.
Is the idea that basically no one is crazy when it comes to their financial decisions.
That feels counterintuitive. We see people making what look like terrible money choices all the time.
We do. It's so easy to look at someone dropping tons of cash on, I don't know, a fancy watch, or someone else hoarding every penny under the mattress and think, that's completely irrational.
Yeah.
But there's this core principle from social work that applies perfectly here. All behavior makes sense with enough information.
Okay. All behavior makes sense with enough information. That's
Yeah.
quite a statement.
It is. And it means we need to understand the why behind someone's actions with money, not just judge the action itself. People spend, save, invest, hoard. It's all based on their unique life story.
Their upbringing, their generation.
Exactly. Maybe they grew up with nothing, so saving obsessively feels like survival, even if they're wealthy now. That's not crazy. It's a learned defense. Or maybe they spend wildly because they're trying to fill an emotional void, seeking validation.
So you're saying understanding that why is crucial, even if the behavior looks self-destructive.
It's not about excusing destructive behavior. It's about removing the moral judgment to find the root cause. Only then can you actually help someone or yourself change. It means there's no single right way to manage money.
It's subjective, like taste in music you said earlier.
Pretty much. Your financial taste is shaped by your history. So figuring out what works for your internal script is key. Forget being cynical about everyone else's choices.
But that internal script, it changes, right?
Yeah.
Who I am today isn't who I was 10 years ago or who will be in 10 years. That makes big life decisions, education, career path, balancing passion versus paycheck, incredibly hard. How do you plan for a future you?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Planning
Mhm.
for a future self you haven't even met yet. Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel laureate, had a fascinating insight on this.
Okay.
He argued that the single most crucial trait for doing well with money over the long haul isn't genius or timing, but having a well-calibrated sense of your future regret.
Future regret. Wow. Not maximizing happiness now, but minimizing future. Oh, I wish I hadn't.
Precisely. And that's incredibly difficult because, as you said, what you might regret changes dramatically over your lifetime.
Give me an example.
Well, maybe when you're 25, you feel fantastic saving 50% of your income, you're building security, no regrets there.
Yeah.
But fast forward to 80. You might look back and deeply regret not spending some of that money on experiences, on travel with loved ones, back when you had the health and energy.
So a static financial plan is basically doomed because our sense of regret is dynamic.
It's constantly shifting, which highlights another psychological trap. the end of history illusion.
Okay, what's that?
It's this funny thing humans do. We recognize we've changed a lot in the past. We're wiser. Our tastes are different. Our values may be shifted. We see that evolution clearly looking back.
Sure.
But we tend to believe that process is, well, mostly done now. We think our future self, say 20 years from now, will basically be us, just older. Same core beliefs, same desires.
Oh, wow. So we make long-term plans based on who we are right now, assuming that person is the final version.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
We're designing a life for a future self, using the potentially immature or incomplete blueprint of our present self. It makes long-term financial planning inherently flawed if we don't account for that future evolution.
That's unsettling. So if we can't fully trust our future selves or predict our future regrets, what's the safest approach? How do we anchor ourselves?
Well, one approach is to think like Jeff Bezos did when starting Amazon. He wasn't focused on guaranteeing success, which he knew was unlikely.
Yep.
He was focused on avoiding the regret of not trying. He asked himself, when I'm 80, will I regret giving this a shot, even if it fails? He knew he wouldn't regret trying, but he would regret never knowing. So the lesson is maybe. To find the failure you can live with, what inaction will you regret more?
And beyond that specific decision framework, if the future is inherently fuzzy,
The sources really emphasize avoiding extremes, because it's the extreme financial paths that carry the highest probability of causing deep future regret.
okay, what kind of extremes are we talking about?
Think about the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. Some adherents save like 80 or 90% of their income. They sacrifice everything, now experience his youth, vitality for this promise of total freedom at, say, age 30.
That's one end.
The other end, maybe the YOLO trader,
Hmm.
leveraging everything on a risky bet, or just someone living wildly beyond their means, racking up debt. Both extremes involve huge sacrifices or huge risks.
And life happens.
Exactly. Life throws curveballs. You have kids, a parent gets sick, your priorities shift radically. Those extreme positions become incredibly fragile and are often looked back on with, what was I thinking?
And this pressure, maybe to live at those extremes or just keep up appearances, it's amplified by easy credit, right? It's not just financial, it's psychological.
Oh, absolutely. Credit makes it dangerously easy to get caught in this endless loop. Buy the car to feel better, then the watch, then the bigger house. You're constantly chasing the next purchase to fill some kind of hole inside.
It's like using spending as a temporary fix.
It is. And credit gives you this false sense of progress, this illusion you can just buy your way out of dissatisfaction.
You mentioned the Will Smith anecdote in
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah, it illustrates it perfectly. He said when he was poor and depressed, he still had hope. He thought, if I just make money, everything will be okay.
The money fix.
Right. But then he got incredibly rich, and he was still depressed. And that, he said, was true despair, because the thing he thought was the ultimate solution, money didn't work. He'd exhausted the fix.
And easy credit lets people kind of exhaust that false hope much faster, keeping them stuck.
Exactly. Stuck on that consumption treadmill. Which brings up another cost, a sort of hidden price tag that can come with wealth itself.
Oh, okay.
It's this concept called social debt.
Social debt. What is that?
It's when money becomes a psychological burden because of how it changes your relationships, how people see you, how they interact with you.
Can you give an example?
The sources mentioned Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Hugely wealthy, obviously.
Yeah.
But apparently he loves scuba diving. Why? Because it's the only place deep underwater where people aren't staring, asking for things, judging him.
Ah, so his wealth bought him material things, but cost to his privacy, his anonymity.
In a way, yes. Fame is maybe the ultimate social debt, but wealth often brings a smaller version of it. People treat you differently. Expectations change. It can be isolating.
And even if you're not Tiger Woods famous, social media throws gasoline on this fire, right? The constant comparison.
Oh, it's brutal. You're constantly seeing these curated, perfect highlight reels of other people's lives, their possessions, their vacations. It's a game you literally cannot win.
Comparison is the thief of joy, as they say.
It's the thief of joy and the engine of inadequacy. It's why, paradoxically, some of the wealthiest people can be the most insecure about money. They're not comparing themselves to their own needs or past progress. They're comparing themselves to the next billionaire, the next Instagram fantasy.
Using money as a yardstick, like you said earlier, instead of a tool.
Exactly.
So, okay, if money isn't a direct happiness button and comparison is toxic, how should we think about it? How do we reframe this for a genuinely better life?
Well, the sources suggest money can absolutely buy happiness, but usually indirectly. It works when it facilitates connection and independence.
How do you mean facilitates connection?
Think about it. A big, fancy house doesn't make you happy just by sitting there. It makes you happy when you fill it with friends and family, right? Hosting gatherings, building community, that's the source of the happiness.
Or an expensive vacation.
It's not the price tag, it's the shared memories you create with people you care about. The connection is the point. The money just enabled it.
Okay, so connection is one path. What was the other?
Independence. The research points towards a sort of formula for well-being. Independence plus purpose. And money's greatest, most direct power. Buying independence.
And here's a crucial point you made. That independence often comes from the money you don't spend.
Yes. This is so important. Every dollar you don't spend on some discretionary thing, another gadget, a fancier car, isn't just sitting idle. It's actively buying you a little piece of freedom, a little bit more autonomy.
It's an investment in your future choices.
Exactly. It's building your freedom fund.
And freedom, just to be clear, we're not talking about quitting work to do nothing forever.
Not necessarily, no. It's about waking up in the morning and knowing you have the choice. The choice to work on things you care about, on your own terms, or not work that day if you need to. It's about control over your time and energy. That's real wealth.
This really shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from job titles and salaries, the resume stuff.
And towards what the sources call your verb state.
Your verb state. Explain that.
Money gets dangerous when it becomes part of your core identity. I am a person who makes X amount. I am successful because I have Y. That ties your self-worth to a number, and it becomes an addiction where enough is never enough. The goalpost always moves.
So instead of I am a lawyer or I am a VP,
focus on the verbs that describe what you actually do and value. I am curious. I am creating. I am connecting with people. I am learning. Basing your identity on those actions, those verbs, is much more stable and fulfilling.
That ties into that research on people over 100 years old.
Yeah, Carl Pillemer's work. He interviewed hundreds of centenarians about their lives and regrets. You know what almost none of them regretted?
Not making more money.
Bingo. Virtually zero regrets about career ambition or earning potential. But almost all of them regretted not spending more time cultivating relationships, more time with family and friends.
The eulogy virtues versus the resume virtues.
Exactly. Time spent on connection and purpose vastly outweighs time spent just accumulating more.
So the path forward might involve finding your audience of one.
That's a great way to put it. Doing work, whether paid or not, because you find it meaningful, because it satisfies your own curiosity or creative drive, not just to please a boss or hit a quarterly target or impress people on social media.
Okay, let's try to synthesize this. To really maximize fulfillment, what's the core shift we need to make?
We have to stop using money as a measuring stick against other people. Stop the comparison game and start seeing it purely as a tool. A flexible resource to buy ourselves freedom and, crucially, to free up our time, our real limited resource to spend on things that give us genuine purpose and human connection.
Tuning out the noise.
Tuning out the world.
Yeah.
And constantly asking yourself, knowing that your needs and regrets will change, how can I use this tool right now to live a better, happier, more independent life according to my current values?
So the final thought for you, the listener, really think about your verb state. Are your financial choices today actually supporting your ability to be curious, to create, to connect, to be free? Or are they just feeding an addiction to a number that keeps moving further away? That's the real deep dive.